drawing, which you've seen before. I'm going to show you in this video a pencil drawing. I'm going to show you what it looks like when we use Crayola crayons, and I'm going to show you chalk. So you're going to see the whole gamut, and you'll see that this $3 tool that you can make, and for another, buck in supplies, well, maybe $1, $2, $3, $4 in supplies, you can have enough that you could be using it probably for the rest of your life. So there's nobody that can give you a better deal, and you get all the different colors, which there's no proprietary issues. So this is basically an open source solution to keep you from getting fleeced by the big manufacturers out there. So I hope you tune in. I think you're going to like seeing what this thing can do with just some very, very simple supplies. I'm going to show you how to use different types of media in the pen tool that I showed you in a previous video. If you haven't watched that, you'll want to go watch that, and it shows you all the details and how you can make it for your CNC. But I never showed exactly how do you put the different media in, and what I use, what I recommend, and how to do it in the least expensive way. I'm a teacher, so it's not so surprising that my CNC sometimes looks like a desk at school. So the first thing that I use when I set up my pen tool is I use big pins that come in a 10-pack. Look like this. I got this for $1.07 at the local grocery store. It's a great choice. I'll show you how we're going to use that in a second. It's much easier than you might think, so you want to stay tuned so you don't overcomplicate. I use Ticonderoga No. 2 pencil, soft lead. That works well for what we're doing. It fits perfectly with the diameter, very, very tight fit with the diameter of the plug that you milled if you did the TT tool. I use just regular Crayola crayons. You could use any brand you want. I just happen to have a bunch of these, and a box of chalk that is $1.25 for a box of 100 pieces of chalk. It's the kind that's got dust, and that's fine with me because it's gonna do the job for us. So how in the world do we do this? What are we trying to do? I'm not gonna go through all the details of how to make this, but once again, if you haven't seen the video, go ahead and go to the video and it will show you. But essentially we've got a plug inside, and we've got a binding spring coil of a certain diameter, and it fits in like so, and by doing that, it's going to play up and down. And so the question is, where do I get the pins? The answer is, I get them from right here. How do you get the pin the right size? It's a whole lot easier than you think. Because I bought the cheap pins, if you twist off the cap, you go in here, if you twist, this whole thing will come out. All you have to do is come over here and snip it like so, put it in your plug, and then set your set screw. Done. Cost you 11 cents, and you're set and ready to go. They last a lot longer than you might think. You will be able to do many poster boards for 10 cents. So that is the pins. They come in different colors of ink. Here's black, here's blue. The next thing is your pencil. Like I said, it's a very tight fit. If it's a little too snug, what you can do is you can wet this down with a little bit of water or a little bit of soap, and you can put it in. If you want it tight and not have to use a set screw, it'll be tight enough that you won't. You can just fine do it. And because of the way this works, it's got a very soft spring that goes up and down. It's not going to put a lot of stress on this pencil, but if you wanted to lock it in with the set screw, you certainly could. And of course, I would recommend you sharpen the pencil beforehand, and then when you get it through, cut it with a little handsaw to the right diameter, and then the rest of the pencil you can resharpen if you ever want to use it. The next thing is the Crayola crayons that we can put in here. Unfortunately, the diameter of the Crayola crayons is a little bit wider than the plug. Now you could remodel the plug, but there's a much easier way, and the answer is, what you're going to do is you're going to try to get the paper off your crayon. And this is the hardest part, actually, so especially when you're doing a video and trying to film it at the same time. And you don't have to go all the way up, but I would maybe go at least a third of the way up, like so. And then we could take sandpaper, but it really will, destroy your sandpaper. The better way is just get a piece of scissors, and it will make nice little shavings, like so. And what you can do is you can shave down to the diameter of your plug very, very quickly. If you go overdo it, it's not a big deal because you can put the set screw in, but it's better if you are a little bit patient. Something like that, and then you can snap it as far down as you can go. If you still need to shave a little bit more, you can shave a little bit more. And of course, you get the idea. I'm not gonna be too tedious here, but within about 60 seconds, you can be ready to go. And if you're gentle, it doesn't even have to go all the way in because you can have it protrude from the bottom. But obviously you can also sandpaper this and make it super tight. Easy way to do it. Now, what about the chalk? Chalk, we run into the same problem. The diameter of the chalk is going to be wider than what we modeled in the video. That you could remodel the plug, but it'll get pretty thin walled if you do. The answer, once again, is just a pair of scissors. Take the scissors, just very, very quickly. This is just shave it down, like so. Okay. And if you're not careful, you'll snap your chalk in half, but okay, get it here, like so. And of course you can sharpen it to whatever edge you want with your scissors. You can also take sandpaper, and this is probably worth doing a little sanding. I use 80 grit here. Don't twist too hard, I'm trying to do too much with the video. And you can size it in there, and you can use your set screw, and you're good to go. I'm gonna show you all these medium. I'm gonna show you a pen drawing, which you've seen before. I'm gonna show you in this video a pencil drawing. I'm gonna show you what it looks like when we use Crayola crayons, and I'm going to show you chalk. So you're gonna see the whole gamut, and you'll see that this $3 tool that you can make, and for another, you know, buck in supplies, well, maybe $1, $2, $3, $4 in supplies, you can have enough that you could be using it probably for the rest of your life. So there's nobody that can give you a better deal, and you get all the different colors, which and there's no proprietary issues. So this is basically an open source solution to keep you from getting fleeced by the big manufacturers out there. So I hope you tune in. I think you're gonna like seeing what this thing can do with just some very, very simple supplies. It's great. Here's a pen tool in action. It's a pencil drawing tool. This is the crayon, and it's a little more finicky because it's going to eat the crown pretty fast. It'd be better if I had a tooth paper with a texture on it than a poster board. We're going to give it a shot, and I'll show you what it does on a poster board. I just show you the chalk inside the holder here. I did have to open this up just a little bit extra, or I chose to anyway, with a little bit of a drill bit. but it's of course going to work the same way. It doesn't have a lot protruding. I probably should have made a longer piece of chalk, but we're going to give it a shot, and you get to see how it works. I want to show you what it looks like when we use the drawing tool with a pencil, and instead of using poster board, which are very smooth, that's difficult to slough off the graphite layers, because graphite, if you look at its chemical structure, has interspersing layers of hexagonal rings that are interlaced across, and what you need is a little bit of texture in order to slough those layers off. And instead of using regular poster board, I'm going to use some drawing paper. And drawing paper has a little more texture, so when the layers of graphite come across, it'll actually catch them and it leaves it behind, and that's what we know as a pencil mark. And the other thing I'm going to do is, instead of putting it down on my uneven spoil board, I put a granite tile that I had sitting in my garage, and I'm taping the paper that is my drawing paper down directly on top of it, which will give me an incredibly smooth surface that's also very hard to press against. And I'm going to show you the difference of what the pencil mark looks like. You could always adjust your pencil so that you had a softer lead, and then of course we'll leave darker marks even on poster board. But I want to show you what it does with the number 2 when we change the paper type, and we also change the surface so that you have something hard to press against instead of a soft particle board that's uneven, because I use it for regular CNC work. So hopefully you'll see the difference here. Here we go. This is the same setup as before. I'm using the drawing paper. I've got a piece of granite tile behind it that's very flat and very smooth. I have my drawing paper taped on top of it, and then I put in my Crayola crayon, same one I used on the poster board, and I'm going to show you what transpires here when we change the tooth of the paper so that it has more texture, and how that affects how the Crayola sits on the surface, and the kind of effect you can get with changing the backer board into something that's harder, and also changing the tooth of the paper. So I'll show you how that works. Here's the final version, and the top one here is going to be with the Crayola crayon. And you can see that it did a much better job of leaving a residue that, as it wrote, when it got to about the heart, you were approaching the point where you need to adjust your Crayola crayon down. So, and down here we have the pencil. You can see with the hard granite backing, gave very crisp lines, very distinct. Much better result than the smooth poster paper. And I also want to show you one more thing. Sometimes when you're CNC things, you want to V-carve in something, and then if you have a table saw, it's not really worth the time or the amount of wear on your bits to directly cut it with the CNC with a profile cut. So sometimes you can do what I did with this board, and on this one I have my V-carved doves, but you'll see that I took and I used the pencil tool in order to do the rest of the layout, and then I can go around with a table saw. Actually, I won't be doing it, but my friend that's making these is going to do it, and he's got a rosette cutter that he's got a custom design. It's got a little stand that this board sits on, and it's got a win-lose draw. It's supposed to be my attempt at being clever because there's an ace that is hidden behind the scene and implying that maybe it's a stacked deck. But